Friday, Friday.
Hello, 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 hello. I'm excited. We made it tonight. We made it. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another interesting episode of the Friday Night Hangout. I'm your host, Joy Onyeso. I'm always excited, to hang out with you every Friday as we go through some very topical issues. And this February, we're going to be looking at emotional resilience. Hi, IJ. Yay, you made it. Nice to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Just come on in. You're right on time. I'm particularly excited about the topic for this month because of the times we're in right now. It's a time where we really need to explore how resilient we are emotionally, right? And so this month, we're going to have a four-part session of the topic emotional resilience. We're going to be unpacking it. So we're going to have the first conversation tonight on understanding internal struggles. We'll start off by looking at what emotional um, resilience is all about. What are the elements of emotional resilience? What are inner struggles? Why they're important? And then how you can overcome inner struggle, how you can deal with inner struggles, right? And then we'll call it a wrap for today. So I ask you to stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting few minutes. And I'm very sure that some of the conversations here, you can actually run with it. It's something that is actionable and it will enable you to also x-ray your life to see where do you need to make some adjustments. Perhaps you have some friends, some family members you need to reach out to support better. This is part of why we're here tonight. And the Friday night hangout happens every Friday. So if this is your first time of joining us, welcome in. Make it a date with us every Friday night, 7 p.m. West African time. We have very interesting, inspiring, motivating conversations here that would help you to grow your business, help you to grow yourself, right? Now, we're going to delve right into the conversation tonight by looking at what emotional resilience is all about. When we talk about emotional resilience, what are we talking about? When you say a business is resilient and the individual is resilient, what do we really mean? I'm always very mindful to be very descriptive of some words or concepts that we use commonly because, I don't like to operate under the assumption that we're all on the same page. So it's always important for me to unpack some of the common, concepts, some of the common words you're used to hearing. So if this is your first time coming in, welcome in, welcome in. Just come in. I see you, Amarachi. I see you, Ozioma Golden. Welcome right in. And if you're here, I'm not seeing you or calling your name, please do forgive me, right? It's not intentional. So when we talk about resilience, what are we really talking about? Resilience is gotten from the Latin word, which means to bounce back. Thank you so much, Divine. The vessel. It's also nice to see you here. When we talk about resilience, we're talking about it's a Latin word, right? It means the ability to bounce back, right? And that's very helpful. When you think about, if you're like walking on springs, when you have springs under your feet and then you walk, how you just be bouncing, bump, bump, bump. You go down, you spring up. You go down, you spring up, right? So I want you to have that image. You go down, you spring up because why? You have springs under your feet. They just enable you to just keep going up. Psh, psh. And then if you've been on this bouncing castle, you know how you just keep jumping up, up, you just keep going up. Don't mind when I get carried away with that bouncing castle. I used to love jumping on the bouncing castle. So you just keep going up. That's some just have that kind of image. Like When you're going through stressful, challenging situations, now your ability to power through and not allow the storm to sweep you away, that's you being resilient. It's not really about winning the battle, but it's more about you staying focused and you keeping your sails steady. So when you hear me say, I'm too focused to give up, it means that no matter the storm that comes, my eyes are on the ball. And so that's what resilience is all about. You giving yourself the permission to keep moving on. You understanding that, yes, I may be broken, but I'm willing to work with my broken parts until they get united. I'll still keep moving. Giving up is not an option. It's not on the table at all. And that's what we're talking about this beautiful month. So when we talk about you being emotionally resilient, it's about you having the strength to power on, to go through that challenge, to go through that stress. Listen, if you're living anywhere in the world, not just Nigeria, if you're living any part of the world, this is one of the most challenging times to live in. And it calls for resilience, especially emotional resilience. And I'm so happy that we're having this conversation because, this is the beginning of the year. You may have set out your goals. You may have set out, you have drawn your vision board and you're already on target. When you're emotionally resilient, it helps to keep you motivated that no matter what comes, you don't take your eyes off the big picture. Yes, oh, I'm grieving. Yes, I've lost that job. Yes, this is happening. I've lost my house, but I will not lose my motivation. I will keep moving forward. Welcome, Chizoba. Welcome, Ozioma. Amarachi Grace. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Welcome, Chinel. I can see you as well. Welcome. So it's so important that you keep your focus. Now, at a time like this, when a lot of things are happening, you find out that there's inflation, the cost of living is so crazily expensive. Things that used to be basic are no longer basic, right? Those necessities of life have become luxury items right now. It takes a lot to keep you focused, it takes a lot to keep you motivated. Perhaps at the end of the year, at the end of 2023, you made this beautiful business plan, you mapped out how everything would be. Bam, welcome 2024, and everything just started going south. It takes an emotionally resilient person not to throw in the towel, not to say, what is all of this? So living in the world right now, it doesn't matter the part of the world you live in. Yes, some parts of the world are more challenging to live in than the others, but generally speaking, there's a whole lot happening all over. And so it is taking a hit on our emotions. And that's why for today, we're going to focus on an aspect of emotional resilience that is important, and that is understanding inner struggles. What are we talking about when we say inner struggles? These are the battles, the challenges, the doubts that happen in your mind or in your emotions. And they come in different forms. It could be that you have to make some life-changing decisions. For instance, some younger people, even some middle-aged people, are thinking of what we call in Nigeria jakpai. And so when you get to that point where you're thinking, do I jakpa or do I not jakpa? Inner struggle sets in because these are important life-changing decisions. So you will be thinking, should I go? If I leave Nigeria, what are my options? How do I survive over there? Doubt, anxiety, a whole lot of things sets in. Or if I stay, how do I make it? I have a family, trying to find your way around, trying to find your soft landing, trying to find how to move on can generate a lot of inner struggles for you. And I tell you, this can be so draining. It can be so draining. And so that's why it's important to understand these inner struggles as they happen. It may be something as looking at the income level of the family. A lot of schools this year did not give notice to parents, and school fees changed. We had increase in school fees, and the argument is in it has to balance with the current realities of livelihood in Nigeria, or the lifestyle in Nigeria, and so many schools increased school fees. And so, as parents, you may be having that struggle. You have three kids and they're all in expensive schools, or maybe they're not even in expensive school, but you look at your income, they've increased. Now it's taking a major chunk out of the family income. And then, should we take our kids out of this school and put them in a cheaper school that we can afford? And then you'd argue, but I don't like the neighborhood of that school. I don't like the school curriculum and all of that. So you find yourself going through that phase of back and forth, a whole lot of turmoil. The battle keeps raging on in the mind, and you're trying to make the right decision for the family. It's not easy. It can be very draining. You can make you lose your motivation. It can make you lose your focus. It can make you lose your direction. And before you know it, that exuberant, cheerful, lively, energetic woman or man becomes a shadow of him or herself. Person goes quiet. Why? The person is dealing with a lot of inner struggles. And for others, it could be that you're living with the guilt of past decisions. So each time you think about a situation, you tell yourself, I wish I did this. And then you flog yourself, and you're not having peace. You're struggling. Oh, if this situation presents itself, I could do better. I could have taken this decision. Maybe this would not have happened. And you keep, struggling with yourself. You keep having internal conflicts. For some other people, it could be the feeling of not being enough, not being worthy, self-doubt. You're struggling. Am I good enough for this? Oh, this beautiful thing happened to me, but am I even worthy for why me? Some people will only say why me when, challenging things happen. There are people who don't know how to accept success. And so they go into another internal struggle with that. And so tonight, I'm here to have that conversation with us, to know that it is normal to have all these internal struggles. It's part of life. But what is very key is understanding the internal struggles as they happen, and knowing what to do with them when you're going through this phase. Because if you don't know how to deal with it, like I said earlier on, it could drain you, it could make you feel not motivated. You could lose your sparkle, you could lose your zest for life, and then you become a shadow of yourself. So it's very important that you know how to deal with this. Many people have gone into depression, have become suicidal. And when you're, external to the situation, it's so easy to point fingers and blame. Oh, if I were the one, if you could do worse. Because, the battle of the mind is not a joke. It's not an easy thing to deal with. Now, there's so many things that there's so many factors that can enable you to build resilience. But I'm going to look at three broad categories. I'm going to call them the elements of resilience. The first one is, the physical element, which talks about your strength, your wellness, your health. If already you're battling with a sickness, you're battling with a disease, already you're having a challenging time. And then you're having the internal struggles. It's not as easy for that person, like one who is healthy, who has the strength, who nothing is wrong with, right? So you hear some people say, it's so easy to say because you're not the one. Good health is often underrated, honestly. And so one of the key elements of building resilience is having physical health, being healthy, having good energy, having strength, positive energy. That is a very good step. The second element is the psychological element or the emotional element of resilience. So it speaks about the strength of your mind. You have a growth mindset. How well do you understand yourself? What kind of attitude do you have? Are you focused? These are the kind of things that can help you to deal with internal struggles when they come. The third one is what we call the social element, which talks about the interpersonal relationships. What kind of relationship do you have? who is in your life, who are your support system, who can you vent when things are not going well for you, who do you trust to pour things out. A number of us are dealing with a lot, and so the inner struggle is more intense because we don't have anyone to speak to. You don't trust anyone. Perhaps you've gone through seasons of betrayal, or by nature you don't even like to express yourself, and so you're dealing with this. It's so difficult for you to make sense of things, and you don't have any support system. And I would always say that you're not the only good person in this planet Earth. God did not just create one good person. You can't be the only good person in this life. So if you see yourself as a good person, if you see yourself as someone who is empathetic, just know that there are other people who are like you, or even better than you. And so be willing to reach out for that support. The good thing about internal struggle is that it helps you to come to a place of knowing you. So don't dismiss it. It's not, that's why I said initially, it's not about winning. It's really not about, I won the battle. No, it's about how focused are you? How are you able to go through that situation without drowning, without losing yourself? The process is as important as, the end result. The process is as important because the process gives you insights. It helps you to know more about yourself. You get to understand your emotions better. You're able to identify your emotions, understand your emotions, and know how to manage your emotions. And so when you say that I'm going to show up no matter what, it means when you're sad, when you're angry, when you've lost zest, everything, but you're still showing up. So at a time like this is very important because you've set your goals for the year. It's not going to be smooth sail. And that's not a message of doom. That's the reality of life. That no matter how well prepared you are, life would happen. And that's the importance of this conversation we're having tonight. So what do you do when life happens? How do you do with those inner turmoils? Do you allow it to take away your motivation? Do you allow it to distract you? Do you allow it to make you lose your direction? Do you allow it to give up on that dream of yours? So you're all raving right now, you're turbocharged for the year. By the time we slide into May, June, and life starts happening, would you just pack up that dream and treat them and say, whoa, I cannot deal with this? That is what we're talking about today. How resilient are you? If you're running a business, just know that it's not a walk in the park. There are going to be challenging times. The prices of things in the market are not smiling at all. In fact, by the time you find out the price by 9 a.m., 10 a.m. is a different price. 11. So things are just changing. I was having a conversation with someone today and I said, please, when you see what you like and you can afford it, just buy it. Because there's no assurance that when you come back, you will see it at the same price. And so that's enough to hit at some people emotionally. When you have this beautiful plan all mapped out, and all of a sudden, things are going south. You want to build a house. The Bible says, who amongst you want to build a house and will not sit down and plan the cost? You've sat down, no, you've planned the cost, but see what happens. The cost is no longer adding up. And you can't even say for certain what costs would take. Even if you do with the current inflation rate, you do 20%, you do 30%, you do by the time you're seeing what it comes out to, you go, oh my goodness, self-doubt creeps in, can I do this? Some of you first had plans at the beginning of the year, you're looking at now, you're asking yourself, can I really do this? Is this not an elephant project? But I'm here to tell you that it's not an elephant project. You can do it, and you will do it. What you need to get yourself prepared for is to build your resilience muscle so that when life starts happening, you know what solution to take. And listen, it's not a one cap size fits all. What do I mean by this? The path I will follow as Joy is not the path Rosemary will follow. It's not the path Ozema will follow. It's not the path Grace will follow, because we're all different human beings. We have different emotions. Different things trigger us. We have different level of resilience muscles. So this is not a time where you start comparing. This is not a time when you start comparing. Hello, Fina. Welcome, Miracle. Welcome. I see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is not a time when you start comparing. You will lose your steam when you start comparing. You just need to be focused and say, I can, I will do it. We start looking for alternative solutions. I went to Spa today and I was looking at ironing board. I saw ironing board. In fact, I saw two different ironing boards. I saw one for 112,000. I saw another one for 108,000. And I was like, oh my goodness, ironing board. I said, no, this is not a priority. I don't have to buy this ironing board. I'm going to improvise. I'm going to improvise. It's not where to put things and iron. Why must I buy 100 or something? We're going to improvise. And I'm sure by the time I think about what to use as the ironing board, something to build, it's not going to take me up to maybe that amount. I'm going to save some money and you can deploy that money into something else. So it calls for the time we are in now calls for alternative solutions. It calls for flexibility, adaptability. Don't be too rigid. It must be this way or this way. No. You have to be able to adapt. And then you need to prioritize. The times we live in is when you learn how to prioritize. So that internal, when you get into that struggle, should I buy this or should I not? Should I change school for my children? Should I not? Should I jackpot or should I stay in Nigeria? I want you to sit and start looking at what is your priority right now. What would mean the most to you right now? What do you have capacity to do right now? What kind of support do you have for what you want to do right now? Excuse me. This is not a time to go into sentimental decisions. So that's one way of helping you to manage your internal struggle. Come to terms with what it is. You're being able to articulately express what it is, excuse me, either in a written format or in a verbal format, also helps you to improve your communication skills. So look at it from the positive angle. When that internal struggle is going on for a number of people, it's even a challenge to be able to put it into words. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? Why do you feel triggered? You're having clarity in describing, either in a written or verbal manner, is one step forward. Because once you're able to clearly articulate what it is that you're struggling with, then your solution is close by. You start looking at actions that would align to your value, actions that would align to things that are important to you. So I would ask you, as you move forward, don't be too rigid. I've done my vision board. These are what I must accomplish this year. That is one way of giving yourself emotional trauma. I want us to have a realistic disposition towards life. I'm not saying that we should be careless with life, no. Be very intentional. But go back again and look at that priorities you set out for yourself for 2024 and reprioritize. What am I willing to do without? What is a must for me? And this must are things I say that you're non-negotiable about. These are non-negotiable. These are the things that will give you that meaning and satisfaction of living. So those ones, you don't want to tamper with those ones. So what you now do when you've identified those ones is to say, what are the alternatives that I have? We have to come to terms with the reality we're living in right now. And I'm focusing on our climb Nigeria. By the time we sleep and wake up tomorrow is a different thing altogether. By the time you sleep and wake up, it's a different thing. So I don't want us to get to a space where we're overwhelmed with emotions. We allow ourselves to be so traumatized. The first is to accept the reality of the time we live in. We're living in a VUCA world right now. The world is volatile, is uncertain, is complex, and it's ambiguous. So things will keep happening and evolving in this manner. You don't have control over that. But you have control over yourself, over your emotions, and over your life. So why don't you work with the things that you have control over and be realistic about it? This is not a time to compare. If you are living a life of comparison now, then you're just quickly, rushing yourself to the end point, because we don't have the same background. We're not dealing with the same challenges. It's what we let you know that you know. I have my own challenges, you have your own challenges. So the solution would not be the same. We have to take solutions that are in alignment with our values, that are in alignment with our priorities, that are in alignment with our reality. So please, let's be realistic as we move along. It helps you to deal with those internal struggles. And remember what I said, being resilient means your ability to bounce back. Once you have that deep belief and conviction that you would bounce back no matter what, my dear, that is already 60% of the journey. When things are happening, I just told myself, I said, all that are important to you to achieve, you will achieve them. This is the time to separate your needs from your wants. You know your needs, right? These ones are the ones that are non-negotiable. Your wants are things you can do without. Don't get yourself into emotional turmoil unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. There are things you can avoid. But please, if you don't have a support system as we speak, this is a time to find trusted people that you can support. Your support system may not necessarily be your friends. They're just people that you trust would have your back. People you trust with your vulnerability. You trust them that when you're vulnerable with them, you're safe. And let me tell us, if we don't deal with our emotions, it's so difficult. It's so difficult for us to achieve those goals we set out for the year. And that's why this is a very important aspect of, having a successful 2024. This is not an aspect that is commonly talked about. So you're having your business plan, you have your finance, you have the human resources, you have all that, but you also need to deal with the emotions. The emotions of doing all of these things, the emotions of facing the loss, the emotions of hearing that the currency is going up and down anyhow, the emotions of hearing that what you bought 10 naira today and that maybe you sold your last stock today for that 10 naira, and now you want to go to repurchase and they're telling you that it's 20 naira. That will hit you emotionally. So these are things that we want to get ourselves prepared for. Your emotions in one aspect you want to get a very good grounding on as you move forward in 2024. So like I said, get to understand yourself, know what triggers you, recognize your triggers, know how to manage yourself, know how to manage your emotions. Oh, you don't just run out with everything. You're angry, fume. You're sad, pam. You're going to hit yourself too hard. Too hard. So learn how to manage things. I was in the office and I told my team that I'm going to run the Friday night hangout in the office today. And then all through today, we've not had lights in the house. And I know that the generator is going to be on in the house. And I'm going to be running generator as well in the office. I told myself, Joy, it's better you shut down this one and come back home and use the power at home. You're saving the cost there. So look at what works for you. Something as simple as that may make a whole lot of difference. I don't know where you are, but in my own place, I bought fuel today, 680 naira per liter. So imagine if you burn 25 liters every day. And then in a week, how much is it? How much are you earning? That's enough to make anybody go, especially for those who are into production. I used to have it. What do I do? Everybody's jackbarring. It's not for me to just close up this business and fool everybody and jackbar. You want to but then you also need to think about the consequences of jackbarring. Is it something you're willing to take? The emotional support, is it there? All of this stuff. So, my dears, right? I hope you've picked out one or two things. This is an ongoing conversation. Next week, Friday, we'll be back again with another aspect of emotional resilience. So today we talked about what emotional resilience is, why it's important. We looked at the elements of emotional resilience. Then we looked at internal struggle. What are internal struggles? How can you deal with internal struggles? Why are internal struggles important? So these are all what we dealt with tonight. And I hope that you've gotten something, some nugget that you can actually run with. I always talk about actionable, content, things you can take actions on. So I'm hoping that you've gotten something from here that you can work with. You right? Hey, Collier, how are you? Nice to see you here. You're welcome, Fina. My sister Esther, nice to have you here. Obiageli, nice to have you here as well. So I hope that these are things you can just pick up and, start looking at how to work around it. And finally, no matter the part of the world you are, we're living in a fast evolving world. The world is VUCA right now. It is volatile. It's not just in Nigeria. Everywhere there are unique challenges. So you leave Nigeria and you go to America. What you have done is that you've just exchanged a set of problem for another set of challenge, right? I hope you understand. You've just exchanged it. So you're going to be dealing with another set of challenge when you move there. So are you ready for that? These are the decisions that you need to make. And so these are part of where the internal struggle comes from. For being able to clearly identify, having clarity, you know, helps. And you recognize that it's not just about winning, because this is a journey. It's about you building the willpower, you building the strength to keep moving no matter the storm. You keep your focus no matter the storm, not allowing yourself to get swept away, not allowing yourself to drown. That's it's winning itself. So it's not about, no, it's a journey, it's not a destination. It's not we never arrive because we just keep exchanging one set of challenge for the other. And that's why it's important to build your resilience muscle. Okay. I hope that can you have a replay? Yes, you can have a replay. Yes, you can have a replay. Definitely. I'm going to share the link to the replay on Monday. So yes, you can have a replay of this. So I hope you got a number of nuggets from here. And I just want you to take some time out tonight, tomorrow, if you haven't done this already. Go back to your vision board. Go back to the goals you set for 2024. And then look at it again. Reprioritize. One of the things I told myself this year, when I saw how things were moving, I said, Joy, nothing is cast in stone. It's okay to drop certain things as you move along if they're no longer in alignment. But I'm going to keep evaluating, reevaluating, and reprioritizing as I move along. That's my own way now of managing, the emotional struggles and all of that. So I'm identifying what the trigger are for me and then coming up with a solution that is customized to myself. So for you, you also need to understand who you are. Self-awareness is very key in managing internal struggles. Knowing what's important to knowing who you are, knowing what triggers you, Also learning how to deal with self-doubt. When you're able to deal with self-doubt, understanding that you're worthy, working on your confidence level and your esteem level, it helps you a lot. That's another conversation for another day. So I hope you got value, and at this time we must say goodbye. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, Friday, when we come with another interesting aspect of emotional resilience. So tonight was about internals, understanding internal struggle. Next week, Friday, is another amazing, exciting, motivating topic. Make it a date with us. And yes, I'm going to make the link available for you to watch this replay. And please do share when you get this. I love you so much. I honor and celebrate you. And just know that you're not alone. You're not alone. No matter what you're going through, you're not the only one going through it. A lot of people are going through it. Keep your head high and keep up the struggle. Keep holding on. No matter what, keep your focus. You are already, this life is a journey, and you're already in this journey. You will just keep thriving, right? Look around for companions who can support you as you move along this life journey. You can't be the only good one out there. You can't. Okay? God bless you. God keep you. and have a beautiful, inspiring, and relaxing weekend till we see next week Friday. From my team and myself, bye for now. I'll see you next week Friday.